When did a throwaway gag on a message board begin to stain the corners of our bedrooms, to tint the glow of a midnight screen until every shadow felt intentional? Watch long enough and that harmless scroll becomes a filament you cannot shake. It threads through feeds, through comment chains and midnight chats, tightening with each retelling until you catch yourself checking the window reflection before you dare look up. The tall man with no face isn't born in a haunted forest. He arrives inside the hum of a laptop fan, the blue ache of LEDs, the smell of warmed plastic and dust. A joke mutates, then hardens. What started as a meme puts on a suit. It learns our posture learns it, and somewhere between share and save, the screen stops feeling like glass and starts feeling like a door. It begins in 2009, on a forum where boredom breeds invention. Someone posts photos, children at play, a schoolyard, a crowd clustered for a field trip, all grainy with the charm of neglected albums. In the background, a too-tall silhouette waits by a tree. Limbs look stretched by the lens. A face refuses to resolve. Captions arrive typed in the tidy gray of a forum font. Dates, disasters, a librarian's note, the first whisper of missing names. The room you sit in grows quieter. Fluorescent lighting buzzes. Someone in another state laughs. Someone else leans toward the screen. Handles you never meet, add edits, paste arrows onto images, heighten the contrast until a suit gleams. The name coalesces. Slender Man. Old myths get grafted on like borrowed bones, black forests in Germany, Victorian diaries, runes that never existed. A moderator nudges the thread. New images slide in at 2 a.m., jittery with JPEG artifacting and coffee tremor. Blooper reels turn to dossiers. A wiki blooms under the low murmur of air conditioning, a living archive of invented terror. You watch the organism expand in real time. Fan art, fake news clippings, alternate realities wrapped in grainy filters. The joke stops winking. It stares. From static photos, the story breathes. Amateur filmmakers turn on desk lamps and point camcorders at anxious hallways. In dorm rooms, they string up corkboards, mapping timelines with twine and thumbtacks. Marble Hornets uploads a shaky, overexposed panic, the kind that smears motion into white bars. The camera coughs with static when the tall presence intrudes, as if electronics themselves recoil. Viewers invent terms, write rules, the comments thicken like fog. Somewhere, a basement smells like damp concrete and laundry detergent. A kid checks the recorder's battery twice and still feels watched. Sightings never arrive as full daylight announcements. They creep in edges and margins. A school security feed flickers at dusk, and for 6 frames there's a shape where a mop should stand. Wind drags dead leaves along a soccer field. A parent rewinds the clip until the pixels crumble. At a bus stop, under sodium light and a haze of gnats, a curve of shadow crosses the sidewalk far taller than the street sign allows. The teenager waiting pretends not to notice and suddenly forgets how to swallow. All around, bodies develop new habits. Curtains close a little earlier, mirrors get tipped against walls. The corner of the living room where cables knot into a black nest becomes a thing to avoid after midnight. Fiction spills. A man on a hiking forum posts a photo. Pines wet with rain, bark slick, a clearing as gray as wet linen. He circles a vertical smear and writes a short paragraph about breathing frost that wasn't his own. An artist bakes the image into a glitch loop that burrows into millions of phones. Every time the loop jumps, speakers crackle with a thin mosquito whine. The boundary bends hardest where adolescence lives. Sleepovers turn into tests of nerve. Children dare each other to look into the back window and not blink. Most of it remains play, a campfire reimagined for Wi-Fi. A small part doesn't. Headlines arrive from Wisconsin with winter still clamped on the trees. 2 girls, a park path, an act committed in service of a story they believed. No gore, only white hospital corridors, the hollow sound of court HVAC, reporters standing under clouds like bruises. The capital letters of a name glare from Chiron strips. A collective shudder travels the wires. Why does a tall suit with an erased face nest so well inside the mind's attic? The human eye is a cheat. It compresses complexity into patterns, and it fears anything that stands where a pattern should be. That blank oval is a canvas for every watcher's worst memory. We project. You might remember a silent teacher who could freeze a room without speaking. Someone else recalls a neighbor who watched through slats. Proportions twisted just enough. Arms a fraction too long, silhouette too straight. Trip antique alarms in the nervous system, the ones designed to detect predators in brush. He belongs at the periphery. He punishes direct sight with static, with that sick little bloom of interference most people know only from damaged footage. Technology conspires with myth. Compression turns darkness into blocks. Our brains stitch those blocks into intention. The whip of lens flare, the skipping audio, the way a cell phone sensor tears light into ribbons. These quirks feel like fingerprints of something trying to keep you from seeing it completely. In the quiet, imagination seizes the wheel. Community amplifies the echo. One person posts a sketch, ink lines like spider legs. Another adds a verse. Someone else codes a game where corridors never end. The reward is immediate. Attention hums, hearts flicker, comments roll in like rain. Fear becomes currency in craft, shared between teenagers, graduate students, office workers who should be sleeping, parents who remember their own childhood folklore and are startled to find themselves participating. Stories breed stories, while the sensation remains stable, the hairs at the base of the neck acknowledging an intruder in the same room. Now the suit stands at arm's length from the culture that created it. Intentions remain opaque. He offers no manifesto, just presence. That's the oldest trick of power. No demand, only endurance. We carry him into new rooms anyway. Augmented reality filters put tall ghosts on sidewalks. Glitchcore videos cradle him in ambient synths. An endless scroll of masked faces lip syncs to warnings about not turning around. In classrooms, teachers use the tale to show how rumor grows. In therapy, some teenagers confess they feel watched whether or not they believe. Parents tappity-tap on phones at 2 in the morning, search for symptoms, for cures that resemble a firewall. The myth survives because it fits the shape of our networks. Modular, remixable, hard to pin down, hard to kill. As the years pull forward, tech gets sharper, shadows get crisp edges, yet the mind still favors what it cannot define. There will always be a window reflecting a thin shape behind your own, a power line stretched taut across winter sky that reads as a limb if you want it badly enough. Trends burn fast, then leave a residue on your retinas. Whether or not the name remains trending, the architecture it represents stays built. A corridor you can enter whenever boredom stings hard enough. A way to gather with strangers and make something that scares you just right. There is comfort in making danger held at a distance, domesticated by cups of ramen, the hiss of a gaming PC, the mechanical sigh of a house settling after midnight. We close with the tall man not caught, not understood, and maybe not meant to be. He has always been a test of our appetite for fear and our talent for making it. Some nights you'll forget he ever existed. On others you'll swear the streetlight outside flickers the way it does in those videos, and your reflection will look slightly taller than it should against the glass. He isn't a demon, he's a mirror without a face. We taught him how to linger. He learned quickly. His silhouette could thin to nothing as the next obsession surges, or he might keep returning, a watermark beneath fresh content, a long crease in the curtain that never straightens. Will he evaporate like a fad, or keep standing just beyond the glass, patient as a paused screen? Subscribe for more Midnight Legends.